Hi guys, today one of the things I want to talk about is the importance of NoFap and semen retention for fighters. Now this can be any type of combat sport, wrestling, MMA, grappling, jiu-jitsu, striking arts such as Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, absolutely any kind of combat sport. Not just for combat sports, but also if you ever find yourself in a live combat situation where you have to defend yourself and you have to handle certain amounts of stress that are put on you, you'll find that the retention of your vital fluid actually plays a very, very important role in how you actually respond. It's not so much about your mind and what your thoughts are and whether you're brave or courageous. It's actually your biological response, how your body actually reacts to increased stress. And obviously, because of retaining your vital fluid and the effects that that has on your body, there'll be a clear difference between someone who does retain and someone who does release. I myself have experienced the difference between the two. I've been in situations which have been extremely stressful and combative at times when I've just been normal and I've not released, for example, and I've retained my vital fluid, and my levels of confidence, my clarity has been absolutely fine. But there have been instances where I may not have retained, or where I may not have eaten for a certain amount of time, or I may have consumed something like coffee, which is a stimulant, and the physiological response is completely different. So the important thing is to learn how to manage that. So first of all, if you're a combat athlete and you're engaged in fighting, you need to have maximum strength, maximum power, and maximum endurance. And you'll know that your competitor will be training, or aiming to train harder than he imagines you training, trying to increase his strength, his power, and his endurance, okay? Now, if you are releasing, you're not functioning at your full capacity. You will not have your maximum strength, power, and endurance. You will be depleted. Retention means that you're functioning at your full capacity, okay, rather than being depleted. You're maintaining your edge, right? I know for sure if I was going to be in a competition against someone, I would love them to be releasing their fluid, because I don't want them to have that edge. I want them to be in a depleted state, and I want to be in a full functioning capacity when I'm engaging in combat with this opponent of mine that I'll be dealing with. So let's look at stress and how that affects the body, okay? Now you've got low-level stress that is continuing on a day-to-day basis, which will have lower effects than the ones I'm about to explain. And then you have immediate stressful environments. Now combat, whether it's on the street, whether it's in a war zone, or whether it's in the ring or on the mat, it's an extremely stressful situation. Your body is going to be flooded with stress, okay? Now, how will you react to that, and why is it that your body is being flooded with stress? It's because your sympathetic nervous system will automatically kick in to any perceived level of stress or discomfort. The higher the stress level, the quicker and more powerful your sympathetic nervous system will kick in. And this is called the fight or flight response. So basically, either you will run or you will fight, okay? Now, running would normally be based on fear, which is a lower level than confronting, which will be based upon actually fighting or challenging the obstacle that's in front of you, okay? Now, what happens is your body will start to produce high amounts of adrenaline, okay? Not just adrenaline, but other stress hormones such as cortisol. Now, if you're already in a stressed state and if you're already depleted, you're already going to be producing more cortisol inside your body and more adrenaline. And, you know, on the lower level of this, you'll have anxiety, social anxiety, a lack of confidence. And on a higher level, you'll be in a situation where you actually completely shut down. This is actually a state that Mike Tyson says that he liked to put his opponents in, where he would intimidate them. He'd get into their mind, and then their thoughts would cause their body to shut down. We have to remember relation between thoughts and body, mind and body. This is a body would shut down. In extreme levels, when the fight or flight system kicks in and your body, the adrenals, which are glands that sit just above the kidneys, when they fire out huge amounts of adrenaline and cortisol, you can actually lose control of your limbs, okay? Your legs can start shaking. In extreme cases, people will actually, urinate or defecate themselves at high levels. So this is how powerful and poisonous adrenaline is on your body, all right? So now, the relation to semen retention and qigong, for example, is every time you release, and you release a lot, your body has to draw energy down. So you've got chakra systems that go from your lower base, which are your testicles, they go all the way up to your pineal gland. So the goal is always to keep raising that energy and filling each vessel until your pineal gland is actually full of energy. But if you're constantly releasing, what's happened is the energy needs to be drawn from your kidneys and from your adrenal glands. That's why a lot of people that over-release, they have adrenal fatigue. They're feeling exhausted because they're just not replenishing their system, okay? So now, when the adrenaline and the cortisol starts pumping out, you're gonna have a number of effects. First of all, your breathing will get shallow or it may get heavy. Your lips and mouth will get dry. Your cognitive abilities will start to slow down. You'll either zoom in more on the focused threat and your peripheral vision won't be so alert. Legs will start to shake. You'll feel a certain weakness inside your body that you're not accustomed to, all right? You'll have butterflies in your stomach. That's the response of your stomach due to the hormones being released and literally poisoning your system and shutting you down, okay? Now, who wants to be in that kind of a state when they're engaged in a fight? When your body is in a negative state, which it would be if you're constantly releasing, regardless of whether you're in a combat situation or not, when that's constantly being released, you are in a depleted state, you are in a weakened state, you have far more anxiety than you normally would. Now, in this extremely stressed state, your body is just absolutely shutting down. When your body shuts down, you start to think, gosh, why am I feeling like this? And then you have a negative feedback loop where you start to have negative thoughts, and your negative thoughts then cause your body to release more adrenaline and cortisol, which shuts down your body further, which makes you worry more, okay? That's when you're in a state that is very, very difficult to get out of, all right? So now, if you are retaining, if you're holding your vital fluid in your body, okay, whether it's a practice that you always do, which is what I would recommend, or if it's specifically for a fight or competition that you're engaging in, you're going to feel different. Without a shadow of a doubt, I guarantee everybody, you will feel different, okay? If you start, you want to test this, release 4-5 times, okay? And then go for a run, do a 5-mile run. Okay, or try and do as many push-ups as you can, or hit the gym and do some weights, or do some pad work, or grapple 2 or 3 people one after the other, all right? I guarantee you'll feel completely different because of the hormonal changes that are taking place in your body. When you retain that fluid, when you retain your vital energy, you're gonna feel internally a lot more solid, okay? Your response to a stressful situation will result in you more likely responding via fighting rather than flighting, okay? And that's a different level. You're gonna have calmness instead of panicking. So these are differences between when you're afraid and you're avoiding, or when you're actually confronting. You're gonna be more focused. You're not gonna have distracted thoughts. You're gonna have increased controlled aggression, which is vital. We're not talking about haphazard, reckless aggression or even anger. We're talking about controlled aggression, where you're able to engage with your opponent with malicious intent, focused intent. You're going to have a lot more energy than feeling the energy being sapped from your body. Your legs are going to be a lot more stable. Now, the legs are the most important thing because you need to have a strong foundation, okay? You can be in a fight and your legs go before you even get hit, and you're thinking, shit, I just can't get hit because my legs are gone already. All he's got to do is push me and I'm gone, okay? Or your legs may buckle. This is what happens to some people. The legs buckle and they just faint and collapse. That's when the adrenaline's really pushed into their body, but you won't have that. You're gonna have strong, stable legs, and you're going to have internal stability and confidence, okay? You're going to have a courageous mentality. You're not going to feel fear. And your opponent will feel that in you. They're going to realize that you are not shakeable. You're unmoved. You've got a steely confidence that will naturally unnerve them. You'll naturally have a high level of self-belief because you're not worrying about how you're feeling and how your body's responding to the situation. You're just thinking about what you're going to do, and via your training that should kick in instinctively and naturally, okay? So I would advise anyone that's involved in any kind of combat sport, MMA, striking arts, boxing, or anyone that's even in confrontational situations. Now, confrontation doesn't always have to be physical. It can also be psychological or mental, you know. You're dealing with people that are trying to intimidate you in the workplace, for example. By retaining your vital fluid, you will respond to that in a much more dominant, powerful, and aggressive way. That should all be controlled, but you'll be controlling the situation rather than the situation controlling your mind and then your brain causing your body to produce chemicals which may not be so advantageous to you. When your fluid is full, your vital fluid is full, your chakras will be full, your adrenal glands will be strong. They're not going to be in that state where they're just releasing adrenaline every second of the day and you're anxious and nervous. You're going to feel solid, you're going to feel strong. And I guarantee that this will be one of the main factors that will help you in defeating and overcoming your opponent. The lists are endless of the number of boxers that abstain before a fight, wrestlers that abstain before a fight. I know a lot of people in combat sports. You know, some of them are retaining for 3 months. A friend of mine is a professional Olympic wrestler. Every time there's a competition for 3 months, absolutely no release, okay? People engaged in Muay Thai fights, normally at least 6 weeks before a fight, there's no release. So retain the fluid, maintain your strength. It is absolutely vital for any kind of combat sport. And you must remember that it is the presence of the seed and not its discharge that makes the bull superior to the ox. So make sure you're retaining, like and subscribe, comment below, and I wish you all the best.